people jumping on from all over the world now. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in probably about 30 seconds or so. I just want to give people a few more minutes to jump on. All right, I know we still have quite a few people jumping on, but I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I want to respect everyone's time. So again, guys, welcome here. I'm Dr. Josh Axe to the Healing Leaky Gut webinar. And I'll tell you, this is my most advanced program I've ever put together. So I'm excited to share with you this advanced video course and training that I have for you at the end. But also, really in this webinar, you're going to learn a lot of information and really learn how big of a problem leaky gut is. In fact, it's estimated that over 80% of people have some form of leaky gut. And in this webinar, I'll teach you the biggest symptoms that you have leaky gut. I'll even talk about how leaky gut is related to other conditions. I'll talk about the biggest causes and triggers for leaky gut, as well as the best foods to help heal your gut and the best supplement strategies for overcoming leaky gut. And at the end, again, I'm going to share with you an approach to heal leaky gut that is really unique to everybody. In fact, one of the things that tends to happen is so often we go into our doctor and there's a one-size-fits-all diagnosis or program. And what I've really done as part of this program is created what I call the 5 gut types and really customized a personal approach just for you who's listening right now. And I want to tell you, I really feel like in a way that I've been able to become an authority on leaky gut because of several reasons. One is I overcame leaky gut myself. You know, this was years and years and years ago, but I lived in a moldy home. And when I lived in a moldy home for the next several years after, I had struggled with some gut issues, and I did my own research and really found out that I had leaky gut and repaired that myself. Also, I've helped thousands of patients overcome leaky gut over the years, and one of those patients even being my own mother, and I'll share with you how we did that with her as well. But a little bit more about me, and then I'm going to jump into specific action steps on how you can start healing your gut. I'm the founder of DrAxe.com. DrAxe.com now is one of the top 10 natural health websites in the world, I'm excited to say, and we really believe that by teaching people to use food as medicine, you can really see great results with your health in both wellness, longevity, and natural healing. Also, I've had the great honor of being physician for some Olympians over the years, professional athletes. That's been a great honor. Also been featured on the Dr. Oz show several times. And I personally practice as a doctor of functional medicine and a nutritionist. And that's really, I really believe that food is medicine. I believe in plant-based medicine. And so you're going to see I really practice more of what's called functional or natural medicine here as well. So let's jump in. I want to talk about my favorite patient in the world, somebody I love dearly, and that is my mom. And I want to tell you that my mom has overcome some really serious health challenges over the years, and I'm personally her biggest fan. And I want to talk about what she went through and how she overcame leaky gut. But you know, when my mom was 40 years old, and now she's in her early to mid 60s. She was my gym teacher at school. She was a swim instructor. She was really active and fit. But at 40 years old, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was devastating to our family because we really believed that she was healthy. But we lived in what I call the medical model at the time. So anytime anyone in our family was sick, we immediately went to the doctor. We took drugs. We never did anything with nutrition or diet. So my mom went through the traditional medical system and went through chemotherapy. She had a mastectomy, rounds and rounds of chemo, and I still remember to this day seeing her hair fall out. I remember looking at her and thinking she had aged 20 years in 2 weeks and just saying, I never want to see anyone have to go through that again. You know, and praise God, she was brought through it at the end, and the doctor said, okay, Winona, you are cancer-free and you're healthy. But really for the next 10 years after my mom went through chemotherapy, she was sicker than ever. She struggled with chronic leaky gut syndrome, which was multiple food sensitivities, is one of the first things she noticed. She struggled with chronic fatigue, anxiety and depression, chronic constipation, thyroid issues. She was overweight, all of those problems. And that went on for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, she got to the point where she went into her doctor and they said, I've got bad news. You've just been diagnosed with tumors on your lungs. and we want to go in and start doing radiation treatments on you in a few days. And at that point, I got a phone call, and I was actually working as a physician, as a nutritionist in Orlando, and finishing up my doctorate. And she said, "Hey, Josh, I've just been diagnosed with tumors on my lungs. What do I do?" And I flew home from Florida to Ohio, and we talked together, and I just said, and prayed together. I said, "Mom, I really think we need to take care of you all naturally." And she said, "I agree." So she radically changed her diet. But one of the biggest things I want to mention about this is that we really didn't focus on treating tumors or cancer. We really focused on just putting her body in that perfect healing state. And if we did focus on any area, it was her gut. Because listen to this. My mom had struggled with chronic constipation. She'd had an average of 1 bowel movement a week for almost 2 years. And you can imagine how toxic your body would be. And so we started, we drive out in the country and we got this goat's milk kefir. She started drinking that every day. We started making homemade bone broth soups. She started eating other superfoods like blueberries and kale and really just radically changed her diet. And after 4 months, we went back to the oncologist. He redid a CT scan. He said, "I'm shocked. This is incredible." He said, "But the tumors have shrunk in half." He said, "Keep doing what you're doing. Continue to do it another year in complete remission." And today, my mom is in the best shape of her life. Again, actually, my mom says she is in her 60s now. She says she feels better now in her 60s than she did when she was in her 30s. She says she has more energy, more vitality. In fact, this is a picture of my mom last summer. I was with her, and I took a picture of her on my iPhone while she was water skiing. Her and my dad just retired out of Florida last year, and she has amazing health. And so she's overcome every one of these symptoms, from leaky gut to chronic fatigue to anxiety, other digestive issues. All of these issues she's overcome by following the diet that I really lay out here as part of my leaky gut program. And for me, I put this program together because I want to help 1 million people transform their health, for good, and overcome leaky gut. You can see a picture here of my mom and dad here. My mom has ran 3 5Ks with me in the past several years, and she actually finished second in her age group in this 5K we ran together in Nashville, Tennessee, and just had a blast together. But again, she has incredible health right now, and so I want to help you heal your leaky gut, balance your immune system, which is so crucial for health, improve your mood and neurotransmitters and brain health, reverse disease naturally, balance hormones, improve your overall weight. The other amazing thing about my mom is, my mom had tried a bunch of different diets over the years, none of which were healthy, but just trying to lose weight. When she followed this program I'm talking about, she ended up losing weight faster than she ever thought possible, almost 20 pounds in 30 days. And so again, this program is key to getting to the root cause of disease. And that's the biggest problem today, is so many of us aren't getting the root cause. We're treating the symptoms, and so we never get healthy. So let's jump right in and talk about, what is leaky gut exactly? Well, first off, I want to mention leaky gut does exist. In fact, there are over 11,000 studies on leaky gut. In fact, if you go to what's called PubMed.gov, the largest medical database in the world today, you're going to find that leaky gut is often referred to in the medical literature as what's called intestinal permeability. But again, there are over 11,000 studies and references to leaky gut. According to Hippocratic, he says all disease begins in the gut. He's the father of medicine today. He doesn't say some or 20%. He says all disease begins in the gut. And so no matter what health issue you're struggling with right now, no matter how set apart it seems, maybe it's heart disease, maybe it's a thyroid issue, maybe it's an issue with your male or female organs, whatever it is, listen, all disease begins on the gut. It's where you have to start if you're going to heal naturally. And what leaky gut is, leaky gut occurs when your small intestine gets damaged and particles begin to leak into your bloodstream. And those particles can be a number of things. They can specifically be things like gluten. They can be bad bacteria and microbes. It could be other food particles like casein, and even different antibiotics. But these particles that should never enter your bloodstream can enter into your bloodstream, and then they cause inflammation throughout the body. And that can cause a vicious disease cycle. It typically starts off as intestinal inflammation. It then can lead to nutrient malabsorption. Now, we've all heard the principle, you are what you eat. It's not true. You only are what you digest. And so if you know or think, and most of us have never done a vitamin and mineral nutrient deficiency test, which I think everybody should do, but it causes, again, leaky gut causes a nutrient deficiency. So you could be eating a lot of healthy foods, but if you have leaky gut, you're not absorbing certain nutrients like vitamin B12 and zinc and magnesium and iron. If you have any of those deficiencies, you know you have leaky gut. And so that's the next place it starts. If you have any sort of allergy or food sensitivity, let's say you're sensitive to gluten, or you're lactose intolerant, or you can't eat eggs or any food, that's the first and foremost warning sign that you have an issue with leaky gut, that you can't eat certain foods and you have a reaction to those. If those things aren't corrected over time, it can lead to immune system issues and organ failure. So different organs start to react. Like you can tend to have thyroid issues like Hashimoto's, or you may start getting rheumatoid arthritis or other issues, and then that can turn into autoimmune disease. Now I want to mention this. Everybody's body responds differently to leaky gut. For some people, they may not have any food intolerances. They may just have digestive issues. For others, it may affect their thyroid first. It really depends on the person. But again, you can see it really, leaky gut can continue to progress over time. And the biggest causes of leaky gut really are a number of things. Number one would be a poor diet. You know, not eating a healthy diet. Foods that are inflammatory, hydrogenated oils, processed sugars, processed grains, a few other things I'll talk about in a minute. Those will cause leaky gut. Toxins. You know, if you look at the amount of pesticides and hormones and additives in our food supply, or mercury fillings and all of our different chemical exposures, skincare and body care products, those things can affect the gut and microbes. Medications, especially antibiotics, which I'll talk about in a minute, can lead to leaky gut. Pathogenic bacteria, if you've ever been exposed to mold, or funguses or parasites or candida, those can cause leaky gut. Organ malfunction. You've had your gallbladder removed, or your even your appendix. I mean, different organs, if those are not functioning properly, that can cause leaky gut. And then, of course, emotional stress, another major factor that can lead to leaky gut. And we'll touch on all of these things as I go through our training webinar here today. Now, the other thing I want to mention about leaky gut is, when people tend to hear the word or phrase leaky gut, they tend to think, oh, that's a digestive issue and I don't have that. That's one of the first things that comes to most people's mind, is they think, oh, leaky gut, that sounds really severe or serious. But leaky gut, the truth is, it affects the whole body. You can have leaky gut and have no symptoms. But for most people, it starts as small symptoms. So leaky gut affects the whole body. One of the areas it can affect is your skin. If you have any of these issues, acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, if you break out in hives, those are all warning signs that you have leaky gut. Any skin issue, as I mentioned, and most people realize that, is that skin issues never start in the skin. They start in your gut and your intestines. The other area that can be affected is your thyroid. You know, things like Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism and Graves' disease, those can be caused and started by leaky gut according to medical literature. By the way, everything I'm referencing, there are medical studies. Remember when I mentioned those 11,000 plus studies on PubMed earlier? All these conditions I put down because there are medical studies showing there's a correlation. Your colon can obviously be affected by leaky gut. Anything like irritable bowel syndrome, which is IBS, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, diarrhea, constipation, those are all warning signs you have leaky gut. They can affect your adrenal glands, cause adrenal fatigue and kidney issues. Leaky gut can affect your joints, causing arthritis, headaches, and muscle pain. Can affect your sinus and mouth, causing frequent colds, and especially food sensitivities. And can even affect the brain. It's been linked to issues such as depression, anxiety, ADHD, and even autism in certain cases. I think most people realize that, you know, a lot of these issues start in the gut. In fact, if you look at some of the best-selling books, things like Grain, Brain, and Wheat Belly, they've even mentioned leaky gut in the book and how it's related to the brain and your metabolism and hormones. So obviously we know leaky gut, again, if you have any one of these symptoms, if you want to actually help that issue, you need to get to the root cause of disease, as Hippocratic says, and address gut issues. So important. So let's go ahead and now get into what are the 5 steps you need to start to follow in order to heal leaky gut. Well, step number 1 is know your type. There are what I call 5 gut types, and I'm not really going to be able to break down all of this in this webinar. In fact, that's more one of the key components of my program. But knowing your gut type is so important in order to address what's causing your leaky gut. As I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different causes. And so knowing your gut type is 1 step. Number 2 is removing inflammatory food triggers. You know, that inflammation of the gut is key in order to heal leaky gut. Number 3, nourish your gut lining with key nutrients. There's a lot of things that might even surprise you that you're missing in your diet, and if you don't consume certain foods, it will affect leaky gut. Number 4 is treating specific organs with supplements. Now, you might think leaky gut starts in the small intestine. It does, but other organs can affect leaky gut. For instance, if your liver is not functioning properly and your liver and gallbladder aren't working properly to digest fat, that can cause leaky gut. It could be an issue with your spleen. Your spleen is responsible for clearing dampness from the body and candida, and so if you don't nourish your spleen properly, that can cause leaky gut. So again, you can see here, there are some more advanced treatments that you definitely want to consider with leaky gut. Number 5 is rebalancing microbes and probiotics in your gut. You know, there's this area of your body which is really your microbiome. It really is your entire intestinal tract, where they really, different physicians use the word microbiome because it literally is an entirely different environment. And we're finding out more and more about probiotics and microbes and how they are crucial to your health. And in fact, things like, we live in the age of antibiotics today, and we've thought that, okay, we need no germs. All germs are bad. All bacteria is bad. The truth is, if you didn't have any bacteria in your body, you would die. You can't survive without probiotics and microbes in your body. So again, it's a key component to naturally healing leaky gut. So let's talk about the top triggers for leaky gut. One of the first things I've mentioned here are GMO foods. This might surprise you, but GMO foods have been hardwired and laced with pesticides, herbicides, viruses, and all of those kill off probiotics in the gut. This is why going organic can be so beneficial. Some of the foods that we consume today are loaded with chemicals, all of which kill off these microbes in the gut. That's one food you absolutely want to remove. Number 2, and by the way, I call this the A-bomb. It's antibiotics. I want to give you a reference here. If we know that an atomic bomb is the most destructive thing that we know of today that you could drop on the planet Earth. It is the most destructive. Well, I would say the same thing about antibiotic medications. When you take a prescription antibiotic drug, it's like dropping an atomic bomb in your gut. It is the most damaging thing that can happen. I know for myself growing up, my mom loved me more than anything, but I know that when I was sick, anytime I would get, my sister would get chronic ear infections, I would get chronic bronchitis. We would both take antibiotics for months every winter, and it really damaged my system. And I had to take, a lot of time to to really go back and heal my body and my gut after that. But again, antibiotics are probably the most damaging thing. And if antibiotics are known as the A-bomb, then these next 3 I'll refer to as gut grenades. Okay, it's like dropping grenades in your gut. And that first one is gluten. Gluten sensitivity is becoming more and more prominent today, and we know that gluten is that sticky protein found in grain products, especially in wheat products today. And gluten is one of those big things that can cause and contribute to leaky gut. And what happens is you'll consume gluten, it'll get down to your small intestine, and it's not properly broken down, and so then it will cause inflammation of the gut. Once you have leaky gut, then gluten can actually then even seep into your bloodstream. It can recirculate, and then it causes inflammation throughout your entire body. So this is how leaky gut can then cause an issue like joint pain or a thyroid issue. Is once you have inflammation in your bloodstream, your body can start this autoimmune or immune response where then it starts attacking your own tissues like your thyroid or your joints. That's what can happen over time. But again, gluten, one of the biggest culprits that's causing leaky gut today. Now, sprouted grains like Ezekiel bread or a lacto-fermented grain like a traditional sourdough bread, those are definitely better, but still gluten is something that can definitely trigger and contribute to leaky gut. The second gut grenade is processed sugar. Now here's how sugar works. Sugar actually feeds yeast in your body. And what yeast does is yeast produces toxins on their own that starts to eat away at the intestinal wall, causing leaky gut. And so imagine it like this, and here's what happens with leaky gut. I mentioned this and kind of showed you this earlier, but imagine your intestines are a net, and there are little holes in there. Well, over time, imagine you rip a big hole in the net. Well, these larger things that never should have gotten through are now getting through. Proteins like gluten, sugar, microbes, toxins, they're getting into the bloodstream now, and they're going to cause inflammation throughout the entire body. But sugar is one of those things that, what it does, sugar causes an imbalance. It actually will cause the yeast to start to crowd out the good bacteria that you want. You have too much yeast, and it causes that imbalance. That's the issue with sugar. It causes candida and yeast overgrowth, which then causes leaky gut. And then the next one here would be dairy. That's gut grenade number 3. You know, dairy today, and I'm talking about conventional dairy. Now, goat's milk, kefir, completely different thing. But conventional dairy, according to a recent study out of Spain, contains over 20 different chemicals and medications. Growth hormones, sex hormones, antifungal, so antibiotics. You're getting more, in fact, this will blow your mind. Over 80% of the antibiotics given today in America are not given to humans, they're given to the livestock. So the animals, and the same goes for Europe and Australia and other areas around the world, is most of the antibiotics are given to our livestock, and then we consume that. So you're getting a lot of antibiotics, even if you don't realize it, if you consume conventional meat and conventional dairy on a regular basis, but also the protein casein, and then sometimes lactose and dairy. Those are 2 other factors that can also contribute to leaky gut. And the last thing that contributes to leaky gut isn't the same for everybody. It is different for every single person, and that's food sensitivities or food allergies. You know, some people are allergic to eggs, other people are not. Some people have a dairy allergy, others don't. It really depends on the person. And so again, really looking at, you can actually get testing for this or really follow part of my program as my Healing Gut program, where I help you identify the foods you're sensitive to and allergic to. And there are some advanced testing you can do for that as well. But food allergies, another major thing that can cause leaky gut. And it's something that a lot of people, you know, one of the things I used to tell my patients is I would have them do my test, and I would tell them, and we would recognize the foods that they were allergic to or sensitive to, and I would tell them, okay, I said, if you were Superman, this would be your kryptonite, okay? And so think about it like that, as it's different for, your kryptonite is different than someone else's, but there are food allergies and sensitivities that a lot of us have, and a lot of us have never been tested to find out what those are. So those are some of the biggest triggers. Now, and by the way, these are food triggers I'm talking about. There are other triggers, such as emotional experiences that you're having, that can also cause leaky gut. So let's talk about how to start to nourish your organs and heal your body from leaky gut. Here are what are 6 of my top healing foods. And I want to mention, as part of this Healing Gut program, you're also going to find that this is different for everybody. Some of the foods on this list you're going to do amazing with. Others of you may not do as well with, but these in general are 6 of the best out there today. Number 1, you've heard me talk about it before, it's bone broth. You know, bone broth has been consumed well over 5,000 years, that's been documented. Bone broth is exceptional because it contains the amino acids proline, glycine, and L-glutamine. And we know proline, and proline, by the way, if you hear collagen, we know that your skin has collagen, and it's what keeps you from having wrinkles when your skin's producing a lot of collagen. So when you have very tight and toned and firm and healthy skin and cells and tissues, you've got enough proline there supporting collagen. Same goes for your gut. When you don't have enough proline, it can't be tight. You can't tighten up those tight junctions and those holes. Proline is a key repair substance for leaky gut. And so again, collagen or bone broth is fantastic for that. Glycine is important because it supports detoxification, and L-glutamine is used as fuel by your small intestines in healing and repairing leaky gut. So again, bone broth is the perfect food. In fact, for years, if you want to know why, people have talked about, I remember when I was sick as a kid, my mom would give me chicken noodle soup along with a ginger ale and antibiotics. So that was kind of like the perfect cocktail. So she thought she was keeping me healthy. Unfortunately, the chicken noodle soup had all that grain and sodium and yeast extract in it, so that was probably keeping me sick longer. The ginger ale was pretty much sugar, and of course the antibiotics weren't good. But traditionally, people consumed chicken soup because they knew that the bone broth really helped heal and repair the intestines. And remember this, 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. So if you don't address gut issues early, we know it can lead to those immune issues over time. But again, we know chicken soup is good for the immune system because of the broth that's in there is why it's so good for your body and for your gut, of course. Next food here is coconut or coconut oil. You know, coconut oil is antimicrobial. This is especially good if somebody is of the gut type. One of my 5 gut types is Candida gut. And with Candida, you can have obviously yeast overgrowth throughout your body causing leaky gut. And coconut oil is especially good for that gut type because coconut oil is antimicrobial. It will not feed yeast. In fact, it kills off yeast in the body. For that reason, coconut oil is fantastic. My third superfood for healing leaky gut is sauerkraut or fermented vegetables. You know, sauerkraut and kimchi and other fermented vegetables are loaded with probiotics and something else called organic acids, which actually help the growth of probiotics. So it's not just about probiotics, it's also about prebiotics and organic acids, which really create a healthy microbiome and a healthy environment to where probiotics can grow and flourish, and also those organic acids help kill off yeast and keep the bacteria at bay. But again, fermented vegetables also incredible for healing leaky gut. And the thing that I love about sauerkraut is that cabbage also contains unique forms of sulfur that supports the liver detoxification and also helps in healing peptic ulcers and healing your stomach, and your stomach increasing what's called stomach acid or HCl and pepsin. And that's also a very important part of leaky gut, because if you have what I call, which is another type of leaky gut, what is one of my gut types is what's called gastric gut. That's where your stomach isn't producing enough stomach acid. And that can lead to conditions like SIBO, that's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It can lead to acid reflux and other conditions over time, but sauerkraut is the perfect food for that condition and that type of leaky gut. My fourth superfood for healing your gut is goat's milk kefir. This is raw, 24 plus hour fermented goat's milk kefir. It is loaded with probiotics. If we're going to heal leaky gut, you've got to get more of these good bacteria and probiotics in your system. Absolutely crucial. And goat's milk, most people digest it better than cow's milk because it doesn't have A1 casein, it has A2 casein. Now there are some cows that do, they're called A2 cows, which if you've ever looked at my protein powder online, my cows actually that we supply from come from New Zealand, and the cows over there are A2, which are similar to goats. But back to my point, goat's milk kefir loaded with probiotics, which actually helps in healing leaky gut, helps with vitamin mineral absorption, so key to healing leaky gut. My fifth superfood for healing leaky gut are blueberries. Blueberries are the perfect, if you want to consume any type of fruit, they are the #1 fruit for helping leaky gut. Reason being is they're the highest in antioxidants. They contain antioxidants like resveratrol and flavonoids that have been shown to reduce intestinal inflammation and protect the gut. Also, they're lower in sugar and they're more sour. And that sour flavor in the blueberries actually nourishes specific organs like your liver. So again, for that reason, blueberries great. It's also a great, easily digestible form of fiber. And then last but not least, this sort of food, which is going to be orange and yellow food, specifically squashes, are very nourishing to your spleen. And your spleen is an organ that can affect and cause leaky gut if it's not healthy. A lot of people develop spleen issues because if you have a lot of worry and anxiety, it directly affects your spleen and pancreas and stomach. And so doing certain types of soups, like a butternut squash soup, or acorn squash soup, or spaghetti squash, or pumpkin soup, those things are very nourishing to your spleen, which can also help leaky gut as well. So those are 6 of the best foods for overcoming leaky gut. supplements that are good for different conditions. One of the first is probiotics. I mentioned this earlier. Listen, we live in, as I mentioned, the age of antibiotics. We are overkill about antibiotics. I remember my grandmother growing up, and she was one of these clean freaks. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie What About Bob, one of my favorite movies. And he's walking around with his handkerchief. He won't touch anything. He's a germaphobe. That's how my grandma was growing up. In fact, we would go get potatoes, and she would literally make me like scrub these potatoes until there was no skin left on them. I mean, she was that lady. Again, always a handkerchief. If I picked something up off the floor and ate it, I called the 5-second rule. She freaked out. But anyways, all that to say, we have to have probiotics in order to survive. In fact, there was a really unique study I read recently, and it was a tribe out of Venezuela, and they found that they had, on average, double the amount of probiotic diversity in their gut than other people do in America and Europe. Double the amount of good bacteria in their gut. And this is a tribe that has been completely cut off from other civilizations. No one in their tribe has ever taken antibiotic medication, and they have higher levels of probiotics for several reasons. One, again, they've never been exposed to antibiotics. Their diet is very high in fermented foods and prebiotic fiber. They actually consumed this. They kind of took like these sweet potatoes or cassava, and they made a fermented beverage out of it, kind of like a coconut kefir today. They would drink all day long, so they would do that. But also, one of the unique things about them was that they were so connected to the earth, and they were constantly exposed to what are called soil-based organisms or soil-based probiotics. So you may not be aware of this. You don't only get probiotics from the food you're eating. You also get probiotics by being outside. This is why there's studies now showing that if you have pets, you have a stronger immune system, because having an outdoor pet that comes inside, or if you live on a farm, there's another study showing this, but if you're around animals, they actually have probiotics that they pick up on their paws and on their coat, and when you're around them, you're exposed to those, and those probiotics take hold in your gut, making your immune system stronger. And there's a study showing that if you own a dog, you have a 50% stronger immune system on average because of what they bring in from the outside. That's why my wife and I have a dog, and I tell him after every morning we go for a walk and he gets a little muddy and I clean him off. I tell him, Oakley, thanks for helping boost my immune system. So anyways, but probiotics are key. And so again, I recommend getting probiotic foods. I recommend getting probiotics by eating at your local farmer's market, getting outside, ideally even having your own garden. But if you can't do all those things, taking a probiotic supplement can make a huge difference. You typically want to look for a probiotic supplement that has 50 billion IUs daily. And probiotics work because probiotics start lining your gut. And when probiotics line your gut, they protect you. So if you do consume gluten or casein, those probiotics are part of your immune system. They can help help you further break down those nutrients. In fact, probiotics actually even create enzymes helping you better digest your food. So they're there for protection, they're there for digestion. And probiotics themselves even create vitamins and nutrients. In fact, probiotics can help your body produce vitamin B12 and vitamin K and certain sorts of fats like butyric acid. So probiotics are essential, and I think probiotics are probably the number one deficiency that many people have today in America. I believe, again, probably the number one deficiency. So again, taking a good quality probiotic supplement. When you're buying a probiotic supplement, again, look for 50 billion IUs. Also look for one that has what are called SBOs, that's soil-based strains of probiotics, as well as food-based strains like lactobacillus. The next super supplement for healing leaky gut are digestive enzymes. Especially if you have a digestive issue such as inflammatory bowel disease or gas or bloating and any digestive distress you notice, digestive enzymes for a period of time can help you in properly breaking down your food, and really they give your gut a rest. One of the issues is, actually there's no single food that actually heals your body. Your body heals itself. But a lot of times we just don't give our body enough rest. So in a way, digestive enzymes work. They break down food, they break down gluten, some of these other compounds that need broken down, and they really allow your stomach, your pancreas, and oftentimes your small intestine to get more rest. So digestive enzymes, 2 caps with meals, especially if it's an unhealthy meal or something that's sort of borderline. It's one thing if you're eating an apple by itself, you don't need digestive enzymes. But if you're eating, let's say, a big piece of meat and starches together, especially, you want to be taking digestive enzymes. The next superfood for helping heal leaky gut are adaptogenic herbs. And this isn't for everybody, but if somebody has a spleen issue or if somebody's what's called stressed gut, which falls in the leaky gut category of having adrenal issues or thyroid issues, then adaptogenic herbs like ginseng, which is the picture here, as well as ashwagandha and licorice root, those adaptogenic herbs can absolutely helping and heal leaky gut. And ginseng actually helps nourish the spleen. It helps hold your food together and improves digestion. Ashwagandha helps support your adrenals and thyroid gland. And licorice root helps support your stomach. And so adaptogenic herbs work in different ways. Certain adaptogens are better for different people, as I lay out and customize for you in the Leaky Gut program. But again, ginseng is a great herb for support as well. And last but not least is L-glutamine powder. L-glutamine is a crucial amino acid that you have to have in order to heal leaky gut. And L-glutamine, it starts to line your small intestine. Really, it acts as a Band-Aid in some ways. It really protects your gut lining, and it also gives your small intestine the building blocks it needs to start to heal and repair that gut lining. Again, as I mentioned earlier, imagine you have this big rip and tear in your gut. Well, you need proline and glutamine to start to patch and repair and heal that entire area. So again, these are some of the top supplements for healing leaky gut.